Shocking clash, Black CEO reveals why she flipped on Billionaire's sister over 2.4 B deal. In the heart of Manhattan, beneath the glow of dazzling skyscrapers and crashing waves of ambition, a storm was brewing. It was a clash unlike any other, a dizzying spectacle where power, greed, and emotion tangled. The air was thick with tension as Alicia Price, the fiery Black CEO known for her unbreakable will, entered the boardroom. Word had spread like wildfire about her explosive words towards Lily Hawthorne, the billionaire's sister. What could drive a polished businesswoman to flip her lid, risking it all over a deal worth $2.4 billion? The world cast its gaze, hungry for answers. Alicia, normally poised and sharp-witted, was on edge. Her chest tightened as whispers surrounded her. Just 2 weeks ago, she stood on the brink of greatness, ready to seal the deal that would elevate her company to heights unknown. But now? Now, it felt like stepping onto a tightrope stretched over an abyss. The shimmering city lights outside blared against the darkness inside. And it wasn't just the deal hanging in the balance, it was her legacy, her very soul. She stared at the framed picture of herself smiling, radiant hanging crooked on the wall, the image of a leader caught in a web of unexpected betrayal. "Can you believe this?" hissed a voice from the back. It was Jenna from finance, her eyes wide with disbelief. She flipped over status updates. Gasps rippled through the room. Eyes darted, hearts raced. What had Lily said? What was the secret? One moment, they were allies, sharing glances over the ocean of corporate strategy, and the next, it was as if a bomb had detonated. The tension felt suffocating. You could almost hear the collective gasp of 1,000 breaths stopped in unison. "Before we continue, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect." Alicia's heart pounded. She could almost feel the heat radiating off Lily's icy demeanor. Lily's voice was a smooth, calculated whisper, cutting through the murmurs like a knife. "You don't know who you're dealing with." Those words hung in the air, tainted with a mix of arrogance and fear, triggering a small gasp from Jenna. A chill rolled down Alicia's spine. It was a warning, perhaps an invitation to a secret game she never intended to join. Suddenly, the room fell silent. Everyone held their breath. What was Alicia going to do? The stakes had never been higher. Her trembling hands clenched at her sides as she prepared to retaliate. Would she expose Lily's secrets? Her eyes narrowed, igniting a fire within. As the clock ticked ominously, it became clear this was only the beginning. The battle lines had been drawn, and no one was prepared for the fallout. Who would win? And what dark truths lay hidden beneath the surface, waiting to explode? Alicia inhaled sharply, breaking the silence that had wrapped around her like a suffocating blanket. Her instincts flared. She was a warrior in this world of suits and ties, and she wasn't about to back down. Lily Hawthorne would find out just how fierce a storm she had awakened. "Enough games, Lily," Alicia replied, her voice steady but charged. "You want to play with lives? I'm not just a businesswoman, I'm a fighter. And I don't plan on losing this war." The words fell heavy in the room, laden with an unspoken promise of chaos. Murmurs washed over the crowd again, a ripple of shock mixed with fear and curiosity. Across the boardroom table, Lily smiled, a smile that didn't reach her eyes. It was predatory, calculating, and full of darkness. "Oh, sweet Alicia," she said, her voice dripping with condescension. "You may think you're in control, but you have no idea what I'm capable of. It wouldn't be wise to underestimate me, or my family." Those words stabbed through Alicia's resolve like a knife twisted in her gut. The Hawthorns were not just billionaires, they were a dynasty with deep roots and connections that could unravel any opponent. She had always known that, but facing it now was another thing entirely. Jenna leaned closer to Alicia, eyes wide. "What are you going to do?" Her whisper trembled as though the air itself might shatter. Alicia turned her gaze towards the endless city sprawl outside a jungle where the weak were devoured. "I'll pull back the curtain," she said slowly, her heart thumping loud, every beat echoing inside her temple. "I will show the world what the Hawthorns have hidden." But what kind of secrets lay beneath Lily's polished facade? Alicia could already feel the heat of uncertainty rising. If she played this hand, there would be no going back. Suddenly, her phone buzzed violently on the table. The sharp sound cut through the tension like a gunshot. Instinctively, Alicia grabbed it. Her blood ran cold as she read the message. It was from a private number, the sender unknown. "Tell the truth, or I will." The weight of the world pressed down on her shoulders. Was this a threat? A warning? The laughter echoing from Lily felt louder now, and Alicia's grip tightened on the phone. It felt like a bomb dropped in her lap, ready to explode. She had to choose her next move carefully or lose everything. "Alicia?" Jenna's voice blurred into the background, her words drowned out by the rapid beat of Alicia's own pulse. With so much at stake, her mind raced for an escape route, a plan that might keep her safe while she fought back. Let them come, Alicia thought fiercely. Let them. But deep down, questions churned like a storm. Was she strong enough to withstand the vengeance of the Hawthorns? What else was hidden in the shadows? As she glanced up, she met Lily's eyes, cold and calculating. The unspoken challenge passed between them, electric and thick with tension. Then, as if reading her mind, Lily began to stand. "It looks like our meeting is about to get even more interesting," she mused, an amused glint playing at her lips. "The battle for the truth has just begun." Alicia's breath hitched. Lily's words were a prelude to something far more sinister. The stakes had risen, and the darkness was closing in. What would Alicia uncover in this war? Would her fight for justice bring her fame or destruction? As she faced Lily, she realized this was only the tip of the iceberg. The real game was yet to unfold, and she was determined to be the last one standing. But who would pull the strings first, the puppet or the puppeteer? The answer loomed closer, and only time would reveal the true cost of victory. Alicia's heart raced, each beat pounding against the walls of her chest like an out-of-control drum. The air buzzed with tension, thickening as Lily leaned over the table, her presence an ominous weight. "I hope you're ready," Lily taunted, her smile still crookedly in place. "You've stepped into a world where the truth is merely a weapon, and trust is a luxury you can't afford." Around them, eyes were riveted. The typical veneer of professionalism had unraveled, leaving only raw emotion. Fleeting glances exchanged amongst the board members hinted that they were beginning to realize the magnitude of the battlefield before them. Alicia straightened, willing her voice not to waver. "I'm ready." "It's you who should be afraid," she retorted, pushing back against the suffocating advance of Lily's intimidation. She had to stand tall, or she would drown. For a split second, resolve flickered inside her. Could she capitalize on the hint of fear she might have ignited in Lily? Alicia's thoughts raced over the hidden files tucked away in the shadows of the Hawthorn Empire. No sooner had the notion crossed her mind than her phone buzzed again, violently breaking through the tenuous confrontation. This time, the message blared, "Meet me tonight. 8 p.m. The old train station. Bring your courage." Jenna's eyes darted to Alicia's face, searching for answers. "Who is it?" she whispered, dread etched on her features. Alicia bit her lip, the weight of uncertainty crashing down harder than ever. "I don't know." But she felt it deep in her gut, a sense of urgency that demanded action. What if this cryptic figure held the key to unraveling the dark secrets entwined with the Hawthorns? Lily leaned back in her chair, watching Alicia with that infuriating smirk. The tension swirled thick, feeding on the suspense like a dark tide rising higher and higher. "That sounds like an interesting meeting, Alicia," she said with false sweetness. "I hope you're not making deals without considering the consequences." The floor beneath Alicia felt unstable as she met Lily's piercing gaze. Each word was a dagger, a reminder of the danger promising to swallow her whole. But she couldn't allow fear to govern her anymore. "Whatever it takes, I will expose you," she vowed, her voice unwavering despite the chaos raging inside. With a flick of her wrist, Lily glanced at her watch and smirked. "Let us see if you can play the game, sweet Alicia. But remember, the deeper you dig, the darker it gets." Those words hung heavy. The threat was clear, and Alicia understood the implications. As Lily stepped away, the boardroom erupted in a flurry of murmurs, the hum of uncertainty wrapping tightly around them all. Alicia felt the eyes of the crowd weighing down on her, questions swimming in their minds about her next steps. Jenna grabbed Alicia's arm, her voice shaking just like the hand she clutched. "You have to be careful. What if this is a trap?" Alicia shook her head. "I have to find out. This could be my only chance." With resolve building within her, she stood taller, igniting her determination. "I won't be intimidated anymore." But as she left the boardroom, the city's roar echoed back, a reminder of the beast lurking amidst its concrete depths. The clock was ticking. Each tick felt like a countdown to chaos, a countdown to solutions laced with danger. What terrible truths awaited her in that meeting tonight? Would she uncover the foundation of the Hawthorne Empire, or would she stumble upon something even darker, potentially fatal? The shadows loomed large, and Alicia realized that in a game that had no rules, the real question was who would make it alive in the end. The air outside was thick with the stench of rain-soaked pavement as Alicia stepped into the night, each raindrop threatening to drown her resolve. The streetlights flickered on, casting a pale light that danced through the misty haze. Her heart pounded, drumming a relentless rhythm that echoed the urgency of her mission. The old train station lay at the end of the block, shrouded in shadows and uncertainty. She took a deep breath, trying to steady the whirlwind of anxiety spiraling within her. What if it's a trap? The thought nagged at the corner of her mind, but there was no turning back now. Every cell in her body screamed for answers, and she needed to unravel the secrets threatening to consume her. As she approached the station, the chilling wind whipped around her, carrying distant sounds of the city, the honks, the chatter, the chaos. Alicia's senses sharpened. There was something mesmerizing about the anticipation. The clattering of metal and the haunting echo of an old train whistle sent shivers skittering down her spine. This place held stories she needed to uncover. Through the rain, she glimpsed a shadow leaning against the crumbling brick wall. It was a figure wrapped in darkness, only the gleam of eyes betraying any hint of identity. Alicia's breath hitched in her throat. "Is that you?" she called out, forcing a steadiness to her voice she didn't feel. "Right on time, Alicia." The voice was gravelly, laced with familiarity that felt both comforting and foreboding. The figure stepped forward, revealing a face she hadn't seen in years. Marcus. Her intuition split her intention. Was this a savior or a saboteur? "What do you want?" Alicia demanded, closing the gap between them but not entirely willing to lower her guard. Memories flooded back, shared laughter, late-night talks, but trust had frayed to nothing after the Hawthorne scandal. "Listen, we don't have time for pleasantries," he replied, a seriousness creeping into his tone. "You're in over your head. If you're digging into Hawthorne business, you're playing with fire." He felt her hesitation, and so added, "I'm here to help." That single word hung heavy in the air. Help. It had once meant courage and alliance, but now felt dangerous, tainted with uncertainty. "Then tell me what you know," she pressed, every fiber of her being demanding answers. Marcus took a step closer, lowering his voice as if shadows had ears of their own. "Lily isn't just a player, she's a puppet master. There are deeper connections between the Hawthornes and people you'd never suspect. They're not just wealthy, Alicia. They're ruthless." Alicia's pulse quickened. The stakes had just escalated. What do you mean? She whispered, her heart racing with fear and excitement combined. Lily's not just squaring off against you over a deal. She's protecting something much bigger, something that could bury you. The revelation struck her like a bolt of lightning, illuminating the dark corners of the conspiracy surrounding the Hawthorne empire. Alicia couldn't shake the feeling that she was stumbling upon more than just secrets. She was standing at the edge of a chasm filled with desperation and darkness. Get to the point, Marcus. What's at stake? He hesitated, the weight of his words heavy. People's lives, Alicia. The deeper you dig, the more buried they'll try to keep you. You need to tread carefully. The gravity of his statement sank, and this wasn't merely about corporate ambition, this was personal, and she was caught directly in the crosshairs. Just as Alicia opened her mouth to respond, a blast of bright headlights lit up the entrance to the station. A car screeched to a halt, and the unmistakable silhouette of an ominous figure emerged from the shadows. It was too late for masks. She had to make a choice. What awaited her in the swirling maelstrom of deceit and ambition? Would she ally with the ghosts from her past, or face the shadows alone? As the figure advanced, one question nagged at her: who would she trust when the truth was cloaked in lies? Alicia's heart raced as the headlights cut through the darkness, illuminating the broad frame of the figure emerging from the car. The cold wind whipped around her, bringing with it a sense of impending danger. She instinctively glanced at Marcus, searching for reassurance written on his face, but his expression was unreadable, a mask of determination mixed with fear. "Who's that?" she whispered, her voice barely escaping her throat. The figure, a woman clad in a tailored black coat, moved with purpose. Alicia squinted against the brightness, trying to make out details. "Lily," Marcus replied through clenched teeth. "We need to get out of here." But it was too late. Lily had locked eyes on Alicia, and in that moment, the air thickened with tension. The woman approached, a predatory smile dancing across her lips, a smile that promised sleek malice and cunning. "What a pleasure to see you, Alicia. I thought you might be too cowardly to show up," Lily taunted, each word like a knife. "I expected as much from you. Digging into matters well beyond your understanding, you really should know when to back off." Alicia straightened, her spine stiffening against the biting chill. "I'm not afraid of you, Lily. I'm here for the truth, and I won't let you intimidate me." Lily's laughter echoed through the night, a chilling sound that made Alicia shiver. "Oh, sweet Alicia. You've always been a fighter. But this isn't just about ambition anymore, we're talking survival. They will bury you if you don't mind your place." "Is that a threat?" Alicia shot back, her anger flaring. She couldn't let Lily see any weakness. "It's more of a warning, dear. The Hawthorns don't play nice when they're cornered." She gestured slightly, and shadows loomed closer, figures slipping out from the darkness behind her. Alicia glanced at Marcus, his expression shifting from one of concern to outright alarm. "We need to leave now," he urged, his voice a low hiss, but Alicia felt like a statue in quicksand, rooted to the spot. "What are you doing, Alicia?" Marcus whispered urgently. "They won't just let us go." The approaching figures, all clad in black, were imposing. Alicia could feel the fear radiating off Marcus, and it ignited something deep inside her. She had come too far to back down now. "I'm not afraid of you, Lily," Alicia said, her voice steadier than her heart. "I know your secrets. And I will expose you." Lily's eyes narrowed, a flicker of surprise crossing her features, quickly replaced by a biting smile. "So bold and so foolish. You really think you have the strength to take me on? You're about to find out how deep the rabbit hole goes." Before she could respond, the ground felt as if it shook beneath them, a low rumble in the distance. Alicia glanced toward the station, where a train had just rolled in, steam billowing like a threat. The rhythmic pounding of its wheels echoed the beat of her heart, and she took a step back, grappling with the enormity of what lay ahead. "Marcus, we need to move." she urged, sensing urgency mounting in the air, but just as they turned, the thugs advanced. "You're not going anywhere, Alicia. Not until you realize how outmatched you are," one of them growled. Alicia's instincts kicked in. There was no time for debate, she had to decide her next move. As she turned to run, her body screaming to escape, a gunshot rang out, piercing the night. With a heart-stopping jolt, Alicia felt the world tilt, every sense magnified. She was deep in the hawthorn maze now, and there was no turning back. What had she unleashed, and at what cost? Would the truth prove to be her salvation or her downfall? The path ahead seemed shrouded in shadow, and as she dashingly sprinted away, one question loomed: who among the allies and foes could she trust when the truth threatened to consume her whole? Alicia's feet pounded against the slick pavement as adrenaline surged through her veins. The gunshot echoed in her mind as a warning bell, but she couldn't let fear dictate her next move. Every instinct told her to run, and yet, a part of her felt tethered to the confrontation with Lily. The uncontrollable urge to face the truth, no matter how dark, propelled her forward. "Leave her. Get the guy!" Lily shouted, her voice slicing through the night air like a blade. Alicia caught a glimpse of the thugs lunging toward Marcus as he stumbled backward, eyes wide in panic. She couldn't let them take him. "Marcus, run! Go!" she shouted, trying to pour strength into her words. He hesitated, terror written all over his face, but the moments dragged like molasses. Before he could respond, Lily's minions were just steps away from him. Panic ignited inside Alicia, and she took off towards him. "Get back, Alicia!" Marcus hollered, his voice strained. But she was moving, propelled by an overwhelming force that turned her fear into fury. The world around her blurred into a cacophony of sounds, the train whistling ominously, footsteps rushing, and Marcus's urgent yell drowning in chaos. Alicia lunged forward, slamming into one of the men just as he reached for Marcus. The two tumbled to the ground, exchanging fists in a brutal struggle. "Stop it. Just run!" Marcus shouted again, pulling himself up. Alicia managed to catch a glimpse of his startled eyes, a plea she couldn't ignore. Grit and determination surged through her as she shoved the thug away. He lunged again, but she sidestepped, adrenaline fueling her every move. "We have to get to the train," Alicia shouted, heart racing, but as the thugs regrouped, the reality of their situation dawned on her. Numbers mattered here, and they were outmatched. Still, ignoring the swelling dread, Alicia grabbed Marcus's wrist and sprinted toward the flickering lights of the train's side door. The wind howled around them, a menacing reminder of the danger they were in. Behind them, angry shouts and footsteps thundered like a war drum, pushing Alicia onward. She could feel the heat of pursuit brushing at her back, a relentless force. In one desperate surge, they broke through the throng of people awaiting the train's departure. The conductor's warning whistle pierced the air, and without a single glance back, Alicia vaulted onto the train, pulling Marcus up just as the door began to slide shut. "Hurry! Get in!" she screamed, fear and triumph mixing dangerously. They tumbled inside, gasping for air. But the relief was short-lived. A sudden jolt shook the train, and Alicia's heart dropped as she turned to see a shadow leaping towards them. The soft thud of boots hit the metal floor, echoing the growing tension. "Hold on to something!" Marcus shouted, gripping a railing, eyes filled with dread. Alicia's heart raced as she glanced around. The narrow aisle was nearly blocked, but they had to act. With a fierce determination, Alicia stepped forward and confronted the figure that loomed from the shadows, a thug, his face a mask of anger and resolve. "You think you can hide?" he growled, a gun now drawn. In that instant, a flicker of a plan ignited in Alicia's mind, a desperate gamble. "Do it!" she yelled, turning toward the conductor. "We need to stop this train." The conductor's face registered shock, but he hesitated, caught between duty and the chaos unfolding around him. As the train rattled down the tracks, time seemed to stretch like elastic, the air heavy with anticipation. Alicia realized, this was at the moment of confrontation. Whatever awaited them at the next stop could change everything. "Will we get out of this?" Marcus murmured beside her, his voice barely a whisper over the roar of the train. The answer hung in the air, laden with uncertainty. As the train screeched to a halt, Alicia's mind raced with possibilities, and the door swung open. What awaited them on the platform? Trust hung in the balance, but betrayal was now a hair's breadth away. The door swung open with a heavy screech, the jarring sound cutting through the tension inside the train. Alicia's heart raced as she grasped Marcus's arm tight. They both peered into the darkness of the platform, shadows dancing under the flickering overhead lights. "What do we do?" Marcus whispered, glancing back at the thug now steadying himself, gun still drawn. "Stay close to me," Alicia urged, every instinct telling her that whatever lay ahead would not be easy. They hesitated for just a moment, the weight of the danger lurking around them pinning their feet to the metal floor. Footsteps echoed, escalating from the far end of the platform, a grim reminder that the chaos wasn't over yet. "Go!" Alicia barked, urgency surging through her. They bolted out of the train just as the sound of shouts filled the air. The world outside the train seemed ominous and alive, every shadow a lurking predator. As they raced across the platform, Alicia's mind felt fractured. The warmth of the steel beneath her hands, the frantic rhythm of her legs echoing her heartbeat, it all melded into instinct, a primal scream urging her forward. She could still hear that thug's angry growl behind them, echoing in her ears like a warped siren. They skirted past startled passengers waiting to board, some wide-eyed and frozen, others turning to take in the unfolding drama that felt too surreal. Alicia caught a glimpse of a man in a dark coat, his eyes sharp as a hawk's, surveying the scene. He seemed to weigh them against the coming storm, calculating the odds. "Where do we go?" Marcus shouted, panic creeping into his voice. Alicia scanned the surroundings. There. A dimly lit staircase at the far end could lead them to safety or perhaps another trap. "There. Let us go." They sprinted toward the staircase, the angry yells of the thugs blending with the wail of the train's departing horn. Alicia's lungs burned, each breath more desperate than the last, fear clawing at her. She felt like they were teetering on the edge of some unseen abyss. Suddenly, a firm hand clamped onto her shoulder, yanking her back. "Not so fast." The thug stood there, daunting and fierce, gun still aimed at them, his eyes wild with fury. "Marcus, run!" Alicia screamed, adrenaline flooding her. Marcus hesitated, torn, and she could see the conflict in his eyes. That moment was pivotal. Alicia struggled against the weight of his hesitation. "Go. I'll hold him off." Her voice came out sharper than she'd intended, but her heart was loud in her ears like a battle drum. With a reluctant nod, Marcus bolted for the staircase like a gazelle evading a hungry predator. Alicia felt a surge of pride and fear for him. She couldn't lose him, not now. She turned to face the thug, eyes fierce. "You think you can intimidate us? You have no idea who you're messing with." He stepped closer, a twisted smirk creeping across his lips. "You don't know how deep this goes, girl." Before she could respond, he lunged, and everything exploded into chaos. Alicia ducked, her instincts kicking into overdrive. She avoided the wild swipe and retaliated with a fist aimed at his gut. The impact resounded through her knuckles, but he barely budged. The fight surged back and forth, a brutal dance, fueled by adrenaline and raw survival. Alicia felt the heat blossoming under her skin from the exertion, a fiery reminder of her mortality. The world around them dimmed, narrowing down to just her, the thug, and the frantic pounding of her heart. "Stop resisting," he growled, grabbing her hair and yanking. Pain flared, but she clenched her jaw, refusing to give in. As she struggled to break free, a scream pierced the air, a sound so filled with dread it made her blood run colder than the wind that whipped through the station. "Alicia!" Her chest tightened. It was Marcus. The distraction was just enough for the thug to pull her back again. What had happened to him? With a fierce determination, Alicia wrenched herself free and turned, heart pounding as she saw Marcus grapple with another thug further down the platform. Time stretched as she fought against the wave of fear surging through her. "I want to let them take you," she vowed silently, ready to risk everything. But with each passing moment, the darkness closed in around them, and another sense of dread clawed at her heart. What if she didn't get to him in time? The fight had only just begun, and the truth lurking in the shadows was as dangerous as the gun looming before her. What awaited them in the unforgiving night? And could she save Marcus before it was too late? Alicia's heart thundered against her ribcage as she launched herself toward Marcus. In that instant, the world around them blurred a chaotic whirl of shouts, scuffles, and the sickening smell of metal and sweat clinging in the air. "Get off him!" she shouted, adrenaline surging through her veins. Her voice rang out like a shot fired into the wild throng, unyielding in its desperation. Marcus was struggling fiercely, grappling with the thug who had him pinned against the edge of the platform. Alicia could see the strain in his eyes, the flickering fear battling for dominance against his determination. But fear was a powerful foe. "You can't take him." Alicia lunged forward, her fists balling tightly, ready to strike back. She could almost hear the thump of her heart as the thug let go of Marcus, wheeling around to face this new threat. The thug turned on her, his expression darkening into a dangerous glare. "You just made a big mistake, sweetheart." "Better a mistake than a coward," Alicia shot back, feeling fiercer than she knew she was. She knew she couldn't back down now. Before she could think, she flung herself at him, her fist aimed for his jaw. But he twisted away with surprising agility. Alicia stumbled but quickly regained her stance. They circled each other, eyes locked, before he lunged again, this time low, aiming for her legs. She sidestepped, keeping herself moving. Every muscle screamed in protest, but she ignored it, drawing on that primal survival instinct. "Marcus!" she hollered, eyes darting. If she could hold this thug off just a moment longer. "I'm right here." He was on his feet again, ready to join her, but the other thug was approaching, fierce and relentless. Alicia swung her fist, making contact this time, the punch connecting with the thug's rib cage. He let out a grunt, but it was just enough to get him angrier. "You think you can take me?" he bellowed, lunging forward with a speed she didn't expect, grabbing her by the collar of her jacket. Panic flared in her chest. His grip tightened, cutting off her breath. Time to say goodbye. With a sudden burst of reflex, Alicia kicked out with her knee, catching him in the groin. He howled, stumbling back, momentarily knocked off balance. Just as she caught her breath, chaos erupted again. Marcus was engaging the second thug, fists flying wildly. Alicia's heart sank as she watched them tumble to the ground, a tangle of limbs and desperation. "No!" she screamed again, running for them, desperate to intervene. But then another voice cut through the chaos. "Stop! Everyone, freeze!" It was authoritative and booming, slicing through the chaos like a knife. Someone emerged from the shadows, a figure clad in dark tactical gear, holding a badge above their head. The thugs hesitated, eyes darting, uncertainty creeping into their bravado. Alicia seized the moment. "Keep fighting, Marcus," she urged, lunging to grab a metal pipe that had rolled onto the platform. Gripping it tightly, she dashed toward the thug who had distracted her, intent on protecting Marcus at all costs. Yet, as she swung the pipe, everything snapped into slow motion. Someone grabbed her wrist, twisting her arm painfully. "Surrender!" snarled a different voice, deep with disdain. Alicia's eyes widened, realization crashing down on her. The station was now crawling with shadows more than friendly badges. It was a trap, and they were walking straight into it. "Marcus!" she shouted, a mix of terror and resolve flooding her. "We've got to get out." But as she fought against the grasp holding her back, she caught sight of something behind the dark-clad officer, a flash of recognition, someone watching, eyes cold and calculating. In that moment, clarity pierced her panic. Was there someone orchestrating all this? Run! She yelled, her heart sinking with fear. They're not here to help. In a split second, everything shifted. Marcus's eyes met hers, and they both understood. They couldn't trust anyone but each other. Together they would face this dark mirage of betrayal. But just as they turned to escape, a blinding light flickered on the ground, illuminating a symbol they both recognized. And Alicia could hear their boss's voice in the back of her mind, whispering dark intentions. It was all connected. Where would that revelation lead them in the night, and could they trust their instincts when everything felt like a tangled web of deceit? The chaos of the platform siphoned energy into an electrifying dread. With a quick glance at Marcus, Alicia felt terror grip her spine. They had no time. None. The officer's grip on her wrist tightened, bones grinding beneath the weight of his ire. Don't make this worse. He barked, his face expressionless as if he were staring down an enemy rather than a terrified woman. Worse? Alicia spat, straining against him. You're the one making it worse. Let me go. But the man wasn't alone. Other dark figures emerged from the shadows, advancing, their eyes glinting with authority. The world twisted around her. Everyone was a potential enemy, everyone the architect of her misfortune. Marcus, don't fight them. We have to go. Her voice was frantic, every syllable laced with urgency. Marcus faced the approaching thugs, fists raised, but doubt threatened to cloud his resolve. Alicia, I can't just let them take you. His voice echoed the silent plea of a guardian, his need to protect clashing against the rising tide of danger. Just then, one of the thugs moved in closer, an electric baton at the ready, menacing and dangerous. Last chance. He shouted, issuing a warning laced with impending violence. Alicia's mind raced. Options burned away like dried leaves in a fire. They needed a plan, and fast. We can't afford to be taken. They're working. With a loud bang echoed, and the crowd shifted. A flash of sirens sliced through the tense air, but this wasn't the help they needed. Gray shadows danced in the flickering lights of approaching vehicles. Panic surged. Down! Marcus shouted as he pulled Alicia down behind a nearby panel, heart racing, raw adrenaline sparking between them. They ducked low, breathing harshly, ears ringing from the explosion of sound that had startled the ever-watchful thugs. What are we going to do? Alicia whispered, her mind spinning. She could feel the weight of her decisions crushing down on her. Keep them occupied, he said, nudging her. I'll grab the pipe. No. They could hear us. Her instincts screamed against the risk. We can't go back fighting. Those are cops. They're supposed to protect us. But they're not. They're part of it. His eyes flashed with urgency. In this intense standoff, time felt warped. Each second stretched endlessly, filled with the threat of looming violence. As he turned to follow his own instincts, Alicia felt a knot tighten in her throat. Was he right? Could she trust him completely? She wanted to, she had to. On 3. Marcus murmured, bracing himself. Alicia nodded, heart hammering. 1, 2, 3. They exploded from behind the panel, running in opposite directions. She could hear throats tighten with confusion. Officers cried out in surprise as the scattered crowd turned as one, drawn into the stunning request for safety. Over here. A voice boomed, and Alicia pivoted, eyes darting through the chaos. Was it friend or foe standing at the edge? A flash of familiar hazel caught her eye, and her breath hitched. There, behind the chaos, stood an unexpected figure, a woman from their office, someone who had been on the edges of the conspiracy they hadn't yet detected. Within those harried beats, disbelief roared to life. Why was she here? Was this her allegiance, or had her loyalties shifted in the darkness of the night? Alicia. The figure called, frantic urgency weaving through her words. You need to trust me. I can help you. Get to the exit. Marcus caught her gaze, with uncertainty flickering between them like an undeclared war. Was this a solution or a further entrapment? Alicia's instincts screamed for her to bolt into the night, but there was no time to weigh her options. Would trusting this woman unravel the tangled threads or tighten the snare? Go! The woman's voice rose above the chaos, an unyielding command that twisted in Alicia's gut. Without another thought, Alicia grabbed Marcus' arm and pulled him toward the uncertain escape. But as they ran, the whir of a helicopter thrummed overhead, the perfect accompaniment to their fraying hopes. What awaited them at the exit? Were they sprinting toward freedom, or into a deeper web of deceit? As the night stretched out before them, shadows danced with danger. The truth was out there waiting. And so was betrayal. Alicia and Marcus burst through the exit, heartbeats synchronized with the panic-laden adrenaline coursing through their veins. Outside, the street was flooded with swirling blue and red lights, the sirens blaring like a wailing ghost in the night. The air was thick with a suffocating mix of fear and urgency. Which way? Marcus shouted, his voice barely rising above the sound of chaos, hands clenching at his sides as he strained to get a grip on the situation. Anywhere but here. Alicia yelled back, eyes darting. She could see figures moving in the distance, shadows that felt all too familiar. This has to be a ruse, they're waiting for us to make the next move. Then we need to think fast. He said, his eyes scanning the alley beside them, a quick glance at the menacing figures advancing toward the crowd. Panic pinched Alicia's chest. She forced her mind into overdrive, breath coming in quick gasps as her heart pounded against her ribcage like a war drum. That way. She pointed toward the alley, desperation fueled by instinct. They sprinted like they could outrun the terror strumming in the back of their minds. The alley walls closed in on them, but the chaos of the street barely receded, still vibrating with sirens and shouts. Once inside the narrow pathway, Alicia felt a momentary reprieve. The enclosed space made it feel like they had escaped the chaos. But the moment was fleeting. They needed a plan. Fast. Alicia, Marcus' voice quivered, the urgency now wrapping tightly around what felt like a hopeless edge. What do we do now? Let us keep moving, she breathed, her chest rising and falling with the weight of their decision. We can't let them know where we are. Suddenly, the screech of tires punctured the moment, and Alicia froze, her heart seizing. Was it them? Fear burned in her throat as she pressed her back firmly against the wall. Marcus followed suit, both of them hesitant shadows stuck in a nightmare. Let us just listen, she whispered, straining to hear through the clamor outside. From the dimness of the alley, they caught snippets of conversation, familiar voices. It was Lily and the thugs, now joined by men in badges. Find them. Lily commanded, her voice slicing through the darkness like a knife. They can't be far. I don't want any mistakes this time, a man warned, heavy footsteps echoing ominously closer. Hurry. Alicia urged, grabbing Marcus's arm once more, the weight of terror igniting a spark of survival instinct. She led the way further into the alley, deeper and deeper, straight into the heart of the concrete jungles of New York. There had to be a way out, a way to finish this chaotic game, to confront the truth head-on. Do you really think we can get to them? Marcus asked, apprehension laced in his tone. They're too dangerous, Alicia. They have everything. We have something they don't, she replied, fire igniting in her chest. We have each other. We just need to outsmart them, find a way to expose the truth. We can't give up now. Just as they turned a corner, the flickering light from a street lamp revealed a hidden escape route, an old forgotten entrance to the subway. Alicia's jaw clenched. Take the stairs. She shouted, urgency spilling over as she bolted toward the entrance. As they raced down the crumbling steps, a cold surge of determination empowered her. This had to work. They needed to expose the truth, and more than anything, she wanted to be free from the shadows that consumed her. Once beneath the city, the air felt different. It was stale, but it brought a promise of anonymity in the winding tunnels. Whenever footsteps echoed around them, Alicia's heart raced inversely, a pulse that didn't calm until they reached a lonely corner with flickering lights barely illuminating the vicinity. They came to a stop. What now? Marcus huffed, worry etched on his features. Now, we regroup, Alicia said, grasping his shoulders. We need evidence, understand who we're up against. Lily might be smart, but she's not invincible. We just need to outplay her. Her eyes glimmered with newfound determination, as if a hero's light was burning through the darkness they were engulfed in. They had faced shadows together, confronted truths hidden in the depths of betrayal. Now, they had to become the beacon. Where do we start? Marcus asked, a flicker of hope igniting in his voice. Trust in our network, Alicia replied, recalling their shared colleagues, those who might stand against the Hawthorns if they were rallied with the truth. We need to move fast before they find us again. Right. He nodded, determination glinting in his eyes. We hit them where it hurts their reputation. With resolve, they powered through the despair of uncertainty, flicking their minds to the files they had once hidden from the prying eyes of the Hawthorns. Documented lies, corrupt deals, everything had to surface. The journey ahead wouldn't be easy, and the shadows might chase them through the winding tunnels, but they were armed with one undeniable truth: the fight for justice didn't only belong to the strong, it belonged to those who had the courage to confront it. They exited the subway into the gleaming lights of the city, the world opening up beyond the edge of darkness, and Alicia felt the weight lift just a little. Whatever they throw at us, we'll handle it together. Marcus's voice cut through her fleeting doubts. Together, Alicia echoed, her heart swelling. She would navigate through darkness, expose the secrets, and reclaim her peace. She wouldn't just survive, she was determined to thrive. As they stepped into the night, hand in hand, one burned in memory marked their resolve, a guiding truth that would pierce through the shadows. The truth would always surface, there was no turning back now. The game had just begun, this is the moment. If you want to be part of these thrilling stories and stay updated, you need to subscribe now. Smash that like button because every click helps. Flood the comments section with your thoughts, reactions, and theories. Let's dive in together. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support makes a huge difference, and only true fans understand the importance of connecting and growing this community. Join us on this adventure now.